Hey there, so this is Pathfinder Kingmaker. Now Pathfinder, just so you know, is an offset of D&D rules. It offers more customization, but it comes with more mechanics. So it can be a little trickier. So I'm just gonna play on the piss easy, super easy mode, because I don't like difficulty. I'm here for the story. So this is the portrait I kind of like. I usually, I don't know. I usually play as a female character just because I like female characters better. I feel like they're less expected. So, I don't know. I think, yeah, we'll go with a female. We'll go with an Aasimar. So Aasimar, I'm not sure if I ever told you, they're basically like part angel. So like their family has divine blood in them somehow. And then their opposites are the tieflings, which have, as you can tell, abyssal blood in them. Ooh, too far. Well, which should I play as, do you think? Should I play as an Aasimar or should I play as a tiefling? Sorry, I've got something in my throat. Can you hear me? And of course my phone decides to crap out right now. Okay, so I like playing as humans. Elves are okay. Dwarves are meh. Gnomes are okay, halflings are alright, although I hate their fucking head shape. Okay, we will play as an Aasimar. So we are playing as a cleric, which a cleric, you know, basically a priest, someone who channels the divine. Of course, everyone wants to talk to me right now. So we can change our skin tone if we want. Kind of like this more golden tone. The hair, I'll be honest, is disappointing. I'm not really a fan of any of the hairstyles. Probably just go with this one for simplicity. But I do love how it's like a flamey orange. We can change the color of our robes if we want and give them accent. So because we're Aasimar and we're part divine, we get to kind of pick, where does our divinity come from? Are we just a mixed Aasimar where we can't really trace it? Are we an angel kin, which is paragons of beauty and exemplars of good? Are we an ember kin, which flaming angels, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. Idolkin possess bestial aspects and are calm and usually I'm just gonna read the descriptions because I'm sucking describing this on my own. So most Aasimar do not know where their celestial powers come from, and similar qualities, such celestially touched beings hint at relatively indistinct or all-encompassing heavenly forces. Just general kin, so angel-blooded. Angel kin are mortal paragons of exceptional beauty, and they serve as exemplars of good and regardless of the myriad of forms they take. Emberkin, masters of fire magic. Emberkins feel the dual pull from their peri forebear, as well as that of a fallen angel further down their ancestry, and wrestle with their urges to do both good and evil. So I pronounce this as Idlikin, but I'm not quite sure if that's right. Idlikin possess bestial aspects and calm dispositions, and often act as peaceful intermediaries between lawful and chaotic agents of good. Lawbringer. Lawbringers are champions of justice and doling out punishment to the wicked, and often believe chaos is the cause of all mortal suffering. Muse-touched. Muse-touched epitomize freedom and joy and travel the world to liberate less fortunate individuals. And finally, Plumekin. Their shimmering avian features make Plumekins instantly recognizable. Though they can act rashly, Plumekins never shirk their duties after making a commitment. I think I might go with the Idlikins. Hang on. +2 racial bonus to Constitution and Charisma. Okay, yeah, so it would basically give me the same thing either way, but this gives me Summon Ally. So now, because we're a cleric, we get to pick what deity do we worship. Actually, hang on. I may go back and change my bloodline because that will determine some things. And so there's good beings and there's bad beings. With this thing being the worst. Zon Kuthan. Literally you can think of. Shaylin is pretty interesting. Shaylin is the goddess of art. Sarenrae is mercy, but mercy can mean healing or it can mean giving you a quick death. So they're kind of interesting. And actually I was wrong. This thing is the worst. Ruvagog. Charisma's okay. Maybe the Graves. I usually go with Gozra. Just because he's the dualistic deity, so everything that comes in pairs is his domain. So left and right, right and wrong, men and women. If it has a duality to it, it's him. And he, I'm trying to think of where I read it. There was some passage I read where it was like, for every faithful companion, there's a vile murderer. For every pet, there's a wild animal. For every candle, there's a forest fire. That is his domain. That duality of taking something that's minor and cranking it up to 11 and making it dangerous. I usually play as him, but I don't know, I might do something different. Don't want to, well, I might do Erastil, I don't know. Desna's pretty interesting. She is the goddess of dreams. Caden Kayleen is kind of funny. He's basically a mortal who basically got so drunk that he became a god. He's kind of funny. Rapier, chaos, charm, good, strength. Gorum, Lord in Iron. Great sword. Sorry, I know I'm taking a really long time with this. Yeah, we'll just go with him. So now we can pick, because my deity is neutral, I can pick to channel good energy or negative energy. Good positive energy heals people, negative energy causes damage. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm evil. I'm going to go with positive just because it's more useful. Now, each god has different domains that they have control over, and we get to pick 2 domains. So like if I pick the animal domain, which I usually do, I get an animal companion at level 4. So I get an animal that will follow me around. I can pick the air domain, which would give me lightning arc right away. So as a standard action, I could shoot lightning up to 30 feet. And then at level 6, I get lightning resistance. Plant domain, I probably won't pick just because it doesn't really do much for me. Water, icicle, you can fire, ice, cold resistance, weather, storm burst. Action, you can create a storm burst targeting any foe within 30 feet as a ranged touch attack. Storm deal 1d6 of damage, plus 1 for every 2 levels you possess in the class to give you access to this domain. Yeah, we'll take that. So now I get to assign my abilities. Now, wisdom is very important for clerics because it determines the spells they can cast. Dexterity is important to me, and then I'll put the final 2 in intelligence. So I have no negatives, but I'm not going to be a strength-based build. Persuasion, perception, religion, because if you're a priest and you don't know about religion, you're not doing your job. Weapon finesse, that way I can use my strength modifier, which is plus 3, instead of my strength modifier, which is plus 0. Alignment, I usually go with neutral good.
Their life ends here. Burn.
You should have run.
May I see your end?
Our path leads on. Let's move.
I feel faint.
I lead. You.
I'm wounded.
Away, you rascal.
Careful now.
This doesn't suit. Contemplate on your mistakes.
I usually just do that. Name. Fun fact, that's my real birthday, March 22nd.
Hold on. Just a little more.
Sorry, I know I spent almost 20 minutes on a character creator.
story started at the mansion of an Aldori sword lord. Drawn by the promise of a most dangerous task and a commensurately huge reward, heroes of all stripes gathered here.
Where are they? This is taking forever. It didn't even say what this was for, just that the Aldori were looking for heroes. Who are the Aldori anyway? Rich folk?
If you can't be patient, no one's keeping you here. Just go back to your mountains or whatever hole you crawled out of. The Aldori Sword Lords run the premier school for the dueling arts. They're also the richest and most influential group in this part of Brevoy. Take that tone with them, and they'll teach you some manners pretty quickly.
All right, you purple toad, just shut your trap. And if you can't, I'll help you.
Hush! Quiet! They're coming.
I miss in the older games where you could kind of make your own custom god and just pick whatever.
Greetings, everyone. I am Sword Lord Jamandi Aldori, and this is Lord Mayor Yosef Selimius of Restov. Welcome to my mansion.
Because I like the animal domain a lot. I like being able to get an animal companion.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for responding to our call. You may be few, but that's unavoidable. We need only the best of the best for this task. And I see true heroes before me, strong and fearless. Exactly what Restov needs.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Now, to the point. South of here, just beyond Brevoy's border, lies a region known as the Stolen Lands. This is disputed territory, and while it's long been claimed by nearby states, it's never been truly taken. I won't bore you with the legal technicalities. Suffice to say that anyone with enough courage and power to seize the Stolen Lands and name themselves Baron or Baroness, claiming dominion, well, none of the neighboring states would be able to challenge it. Of course, Restov would be first to recognize the legitimacy of this new state, as well as the noble title of its founder. Unfortunately, one serious obstacle stands between you and this title. A gang of bandits holds sway in the Stolen Lands. Their chief, who they call the Stag Lord, considers himself the rightful owner of these lands, and no one has yet been able to challenge his power. Bring me his head, and you'll be able to return to the Stolen Lands as their legal ruler. Any questions?
Why not just recognize the Stag Lord as Baron?
That's a good point. As I see it, this Stag Lord already holds power over the region with confidence. Many noble bloodlines were started by bandits who just got lucky, weren't they?
Perhaps because we do have standards to maintain. This room has seen many celebrations of adventurers, and even those who just got lucky. But giving a noble title to a bandit lord? That's one thing that's never happened here, and it won't while I still breathe.
You're helping us found a barony. What do you gain from it?
Don't ask stupid questions. Why should you even care? What they have to gain and why, that's for Lady Aldori and I to discuss. It's none of...
Of course we stand to benefit from this enterprise. But if you're concerned that we intend to rule your country from afar, using you as a front, well, please know that these concerns are unfounded. Let's just say that we have a strong interest in the region's stability. We have need of a ruling power we can negotiate with, not bandit gangs and monster hordes.
What is that smell in the air? Is it the smell of unspoken words and political intrigue?
So there's a whole team of us. Who gets the title?
I will, of course. I'm the leader of this team, after all. Don't worry, though. I'll make it worth your while to help me.
We haven't yet begun, and you already speak of divvying rewards. What makes you think we'll even succeed? There's little point arguing over who gains the title when we'll most likely lose our lives there.
If I may please answer the question. We believe you're all equally deserving of a noble title. Over the course of your expedition, it will be up to you as a team to decide which of you is best suited to rule.
Which basically means if you don't all kill each other first, then we'll deal with that. So what do we get exactly out of this?
And what reward would you seek beyond a noble title and your own lands?
Money.
We'll absorb the costs of preparing and equipping your expeditions. Once you return victorious, Restov will also allocate you a significant sum to provide financial support for you to establish your country. Essentially, we'll help you build your capital. I hope such a reward is satisfactory.
Every time he does the line, what else could you possibly want? I flash to the line from Zootopia from Duke Weaselton. He offered me the one thing I couldn't resist. Money. I totally picture that.
Words, words, words. Significant, financial. I can't fill my belly with pretty words.
Of course. There will also be an official banquet held in your honor. All of Rostov's high society will gather to celebrate your feat.
And just like that, the barbarian's on board.
Now you're talking.
Alrighty, we know what we need to do.
Excellent. You venture forth tomorrow. For now, you can take some time to get to know one another better. Or you can head straight to your guest rooms to get some rest. You'll find we've already prepared supplies for you there. And thank you again for agreeing to take part in this expedition. I wish you luck.
Thank you again, with all my heart, for replying to this call. The flare in your eyes reveals your courage, the unshakable will that distinguishes true heroes. I look at you, O champions of Restov, and doubt not for a second that you'll be victorious. So venture forth toward your feet, go, and return in triumph.
Hi, my name's Lindsay. I'm a bard, though this is my first real adventure. So, shall we go teach this stag lord a lesson?
I'm Navala, pleased to meet you.
Likewise. Actually, I also wanted to ask you something. How do you feel about this Tartuccio fellow? I think he's pretty obnoxious personally. He appointed himself head of the team, and he's just after the Baron's crown, or whatever it is barons wear. Doesn't matter. I don't like him. I think you should be team leader. When I first saw you, I couldn't help but think, now here's a real hero. Someone who'll be praised in poems and songs. This is the person I'll write my book about.
What book?
Damn, I should have led with that. Please, just let me explain. You know what the trouble with most heroes' biographies is? They're always written years later, based on the tales of, best case, people who saw things from the outside. Worst case, someone heard about it from their brother, who heard it from their friend, who heard it from their cousin, and so on, adding a new batch of lies each time. Every time I read about a heroic journey, I think to myself, why didn't they just bring a bard with them to write it all down properly? And then I thought, I could be that bard. I just needed to find a suitable hero and volunteer to follow along on their glorious adventure. A great plan, huh? And here we are, with a heroic journey lying before us. Who's going to be the hero? Some dwarf who keeps muttering about how we'll all die? Or maybe that horrific scythe lady? Or, God's forbid, Tartuccio? No way.
What about the barbarian? She looks pretty heroic. I think her name's Amiri.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. You can tell she could tear a bear's head off with her bare hands, but she kind of scares me just a little. But, I mean, her sword's twice as big as I am. She could cut me down without even noticing. Just think on it a bit, all right? I'm sure you'll agree. All right, I'm going to my room to write about tonight. See you in the morning.
So here's our character, and here's her. She's a halfling. Here's Tartuccio. I don't think we can actually talk to anyone. I remember that kind of irked me. That they were like, talk and get to know everyone, and then you can't fucking talk to any of them. So I need to configure my spells. Now clerics are a little bit different from other spellcasters. They get their powers from the divine. And so... Snowball... Okay. I shouldn't say they're that different. Wizards have a very similar mechanic. They basically have to prepare their spells ahead of time. And so... Just a second, sorry. Gotta focus. Abilities... So, Aasimar can manifest a halo above their head as like proof of their divine blessing, ability, whatever you want to call it. Cast a little guidance, so that way the next thing I do that requires extra effort, I'll get a +1 to it. Okay, so now we get to go to abilities. Channel positive healing energy. Channel positive damaging energy for undead. Storm burst, because why the fuck not? Bless. Bane, which is like the opposite of bless, and snowball. Okay, so oh wow, we have 4 viewers. Thank you for joining the stream. Alrighty, let's go to bed. Unfortunately, not all of the game is voice acted, so I will have to read off sections of it. That was something that really disappointed me, especially after all that. And it was like, oh, the rest of it's not voiced? So yeah, I don't know why. I just recently got into playing as clerics. I didn't used to play as them very much. And recently it's just kind of like, oh, they're kind of interesting.
Help! Help!
Is this a joke?
No time for jokes. The mansion's under attack. Some villains broke in and started killing everyone. I barely made it. Hurry, we have to help the guards fight off the attackers or we'll all be cut down one by one.
Blah, blah, blah. Don't show me this tutorial.
Let us press on.
Yep. When in doubt, just bash him over the head with a heavy mace. You'll be fine. Equipment. Let's get us some better armor. So my god's weapon of choice is a trident, which I always found kind of funny. So because I'm a cleric, I'm automatically trained in using a trident, even though I've never used a trident in this game because it's a stupid weapon. Just use a spear like a normal person.
We will prevail.
So, unfortunately, we don't have too many spells to use right now. But I'm going to try Demoralize, because I have a pretty good persuasion roll right now, I believe. So by demoralizing someone, it means that they forsake some bonuses that they naturally get.
You're just in time. A bit longer and I'd have been... Whew, I don't even want to think about it. Can you imagine what a terrible loss this would have been? But it's all right now. I'm safe, sound, and unscathed, ready to lead you to victory. Lady Jamandi's holding the line in the banquet hall. You know, the one where she had us gathered before. We need to make our way to her. And along the way, we'll try to save some of these dummies who are supposed to accompany us to the Stolen Land. Speaking of dummies, take this ring. Quiet now, so that little fool doesn't hear us. She might try to steal it herself. It's magical. It'll protect you. You'll need it while you work to defend me.
So what we're gonna do now, because we're using a heavy mace and my character isn't really built for heavy weaponry, we're gonna use a dagger instead, because I get a +3 to my attack and chance to hit.
You here.
Can you make an epic pose? I need inspiration.
So even if it doesn't do as much damage, I have a much better chance of hitting it. Although apparently I can still miss from time to time. Okay, most of the time. Oh, come on! There we go.
I stand ready. Together we stand. Our time has come.
Part of me is realizing I kind of wasted something I did, but that's fine. That's on me. It's something I can go back and fix later. It occurs to me that once I get my animal companion at level 4, I don't really have a reason to be using summon animal spells.
It's the end for you rats!
So it's the barbarian from before.
And then our leader charged forwards. Hey, wait for me!
Strike as one!
Unfortunately, Pathfinder, in general, combat is very slow. Each turn can last several minutes while you try to decide what it is you want to do.
Oh, it's you. Stay up from under my feet or I'll strike you down. Blood for Gorum!
Which is her god.
Barbarians.
I think that's exactly how heroes should be.
What, stupid, sweaty, and always looking for something to gobble up or lop the head off of? Calistria, save me from such heroes.
I will not falter.
I love that it kills one of their own guys. That's a frost giant. They're very hard to kill.
I will see this through.
Take that! Applause, please.
So we have to go in here to progress the story. So I'm going to take just the one thing for now.
I stand ready.
And the thing I took is the Masterwork Light Mace, which works with my weapon finesse, but also allows me more damage. I can deal 1 through 6 damage instead of 1 through 3.
Oh, familiar faces. I hope you're not so frightened as to swing at every shadow. It's me, Jaethal. I don't recommend advancing down the hallway, assuming you value your life, of course. There were a few people with me, and you can see what happened to them.
And just how did they all end up dead while you don't seem to have a scratch?
I'll answer but briefly and just once. Further scares and explanations will wait until we aren't being hunted by a group of assassins. Deal? All right. I'm undead. These traps are deadly to the living, but they're harmless to me.
What do you mean undead? Really? Like zombies or skeletons or...
As I said, further explanations will wait until later. All you need to know right now is that we're on the same side, and we have to fight off a small army of hired assassins. Let's get to it.
So she's undead, which means the rules of healing are opposite for her. So if I were to cast a healing spell on her, it would hurt her.
I was successful in my search.
But if I were to cast a spell that would hurt a normal person, it would heal her. So undead can be very powerful if you know what you're doing. Unfortunately, your character cannot play as one.
Let us not hesitate.
I will grant your request. You cannot stand against me.
Yeah, she can basically one-hit people.
That is possible.
I will
So
not falter.
we could spend a little extra time here and try to find the cache that they were talking about. I'm not going to do it because honestly, it's not even worth it.
Everything is so much fun with a little fire. What a night, huh? I thought I was all alone. It's good you're here. A bit boring, chasing fool assassins without anyone watching the show.
It's not fun at all. Many people have died for nothing.
I don't think we've met.
I am Kayesi, one of the many here who seek a better fate, answering the call of Lady Jamandi. But unlike the others, I never dropped my guard, day or night. It's why I'm still alive.
Knowledge World, you sound like a Kelishite. Am I right?
Of course. I'm from Kadira. But tales of hot deserts and shady oases can wait until the fighting's finished. But if you'd like to share a dinner and pleasant conversation, just say the word. I like making new friends.
There are assassins on the prowl. We have to go.
I don't know where you're heading, but I'll be at the entrance to the main hall. I think I saw some guards there. Join me there, if you wish.
I know what to do.
We're going to pause for a minute. We're going to loot the room. We'll deal with him in a second. We're going to sneak in here. Push the special brick. And yoink this free gear that we can't even use, but we can sell for money. Now, I do want to try something, because I've never considered trying this before.
Grotus,
Ah, no, he
I can
interrupts me.
sense your silhouette hovering over me. It won't be much longer. Soon we shall meet, O Lord of Oblivion.
What's wrong with you, old man?
I'm dying. I knew this expedition was doomed. Oh, Grotus, my vision darkens.
Aren't you being a bit premature? Look at yourself. You've barely got a scratch on you.
That's impossible. Oh, it seems you might be right. It seems I will live. I suppose I must postpone meeting my god, not for long, I'm sure. But while we remain in this transient world, Aaron is at your service.
He's just a riot at parties. Okay, I was curious if it would let me cast that as a spell or if it would cut me off. Wow, healed me for a whole 1 point of health.
You, run and get an axe. You, bring more water. You, stay here and hold our defense. Those assassins are still around here somewhere. Aha! Some of our guests survived. Good. You need to get to the banquet hall and help Lady Jamandi.
What's going on here?
Someone opened the gate, let in a group of assassins in the middle of the night. Now they've set the mansion on fire to cut off access to the hall. They don't want Lady Jamandi to get reinforcements. We cleared the passage so you can get through. Just try to avoid inhaling the smoke. We'll be right behind you. We just need to put out the fire first to save the mansion.
Considering Lady Jamandi's fame, I'm not surprised that a whole pack of assassins were unleashed on her, including a giant. But what's at stake? What could anyone hope to gain?
Do you need help putting out the fire?
No, we'll manage. I've got my best people here, those who still live. Your place is by Lady Aldori's side.
It doesn't seem right. What if some of the guards are wounded? We need to help them.
I'll go immediately.
Fire doesn't frighten me, thanks to hell's blood running in my veins. I'll go ahead and wait for you on the other side. Catch up!
May Abadar keep you safe.
So I'm not going to read through all of this because it's a ton of reading, but basically we're going to drench ourselves in water, we're going to cover our noses and fucking run. While we're running through, we spot someone trying to free some trapped soldiers, we stop to help, we succeed, we free them, and we make it through to the other side without taking damage.
Together we stand.
Excuse me. So instead, we're going to move in here, in the middle of it all, because we're going to hit them all with a Bane. Each Bane fills your enemy with fear and doubt. Each affected creature takes a -1 to attack rolls and a -1 penalty on saving throws. So basically they're going to deal less damage, and they're not going to be able to dodge as easily. Of course, they've got wizards on their side, so that makes things a little trickier.
Do not hold back. We shall overcome.
Because wizards are pretty powerful low level. Gonna loot the room.
I will see this through. Our time has come.
Thank you for your valor and bravery. The enemy was strong, but you were stronger. And that means I made the right choice. Just as I thought, there were worthy leaders among you. I'm especially grateful to them for the courage and common sense they showed while defending the mansion. But this attack means we have even less time than I thought. Someone already knows of our plans and is acting against us. You'll begin your expedition immediately.
Lady Aldori, please, I know who arranged this attack. The vile king of Pitax, Iroveti. What's more, I know who among us works for him. Hey, you! Show everyone the ring you're wearing. You think I wouldn't recognize Irovetti's seal? That's why she wasn't killed. The bandits recognized her as one of their own by the signet ring.
So we could just be like, what are you talking about? I'm not wearing a ring. Or we can accuse him of giving it. We're going to take the high road, though, and be a dick about it. So I have no connection to Patax, but Tartuccio's name, accent, and clothing seem like he came straight from there. Which of us looks more like they would be Iravetti's spy?
Probably, yes. But this evidence is circumstantial at best. There's definitely a spy among us. But who? All I have is one word against another. I'm afraid you're both under suspicion.
Bitch!
Both came to your aid, Lady Jamandi. But a liar's cunning knows no bounds. I've never met these two or their companions. For all I know, they're all conspiring spies.
I literally have a glowing halo above my head, and you don't believe what I'm saying.
How could you say that? We fought together. We literally went through fire together. And then you vanished into thin air. After you promised you'd wait.
My words might be rash.
I bet my life the spies anyone but this woman. I saw how she dealt with those creeps with my own eyes. A true warrior. I'd go with her through hell and high water. This purple crook, on the other hand. He's got the eyes of a spy. And the mug of a spy!
Now, if I had been the writer on this game, I would have had her keep listing things. And like, the hands of a spy, the nose of a spy. And just like have her go off on a tangent.
Lady Aldori, don't listen to this thick-headed barbarian. She doesn't know what she's talking about. During the attack, our leader showed her true colors. She forced us to break into the armory and rob it.
We were in the middle of battle and needed weapons. There were no time to ask for permission.
An attack is no reason to break into rooms in someone else's house and pocket their property.
Fuck.
Is it not insane to be faced with death and stop to question whether you may be breaking some law or rule? Our leader acted wisely.
Sometimes I can convince her.
There is a difference between initiative taken in battle and blatant arrogation. How can someone who disregards authorities be a leader herself?
What about that trick she pulled right before we came in here? She knew very well you were fighting the enemy, but instead of rushing to help you, she dallied as long as she could, dropping everything to save people from the fire, even though the guards were handling things just fine. She was obviously hoping to show up too late and find you already dead.
People were dying right in front of me. What was I supposed to do?
Really, Tartuccio? You're seriously trying to blame someone for saving people from a fire?
May Shellen spare me from ever having to make such a choice, but she behaved decently, as a true leader.
A true leader is someone who has their priorities straight, not someone who would put a valuable ally's life in danger for the sake of some servant.
Enough squabbling. I'm still not sure which of you I can trust. However, the risk of entrusting the whole affair to a spy is too great. Here's what we'll do. 2 teams will head out. That way, I'll know at least one group can be counted on to serve my interests in the stolen lands.
Lady Aldori, most of those who are to set off for the stolen lands have been killed. Those who yet live will require help. Please allow me to join the expedition.
I'm sad to lose such a talented warrior. But you're right, Valerie. They have greater need of you right now. Go, and may Abadar keep you.
If Tartuccio allows, I would join his team.
Sorry.
Forgive me, but I don't appreciate your willfulness.
So, the time I failed to convince her that what I did was okay, if I had succeeded, she might have joined me.
And I like our leader. What wisdom lies in minding orders, laws, and rules in the face of oblivion, knowing not whether you'll be alive tomorrow? I will go with her team.
Our leader is good in battle, but I don't like all the spiritual agonizing. I prefer those who can act without wasting time helping every little pipsqueak. Those like Tartuccio.
Ugh, Tartuccio's going to take the credit for himself and be done with it. Shellen, spare me from such allies. I'm going with you. You're a hero worthy of my quill.
As for me, I know neither of these two. At least not well enough. And I have no wish to become an unwitting pawn to an unworthy leader. If Lady Jamandi allows, I'll remain in Restov and help mend the wounds this attack has inflicted. But who knows? The road may bring me to the Stolen Lands, but not yet.
Can you say DLC character?
I don't even need to think. I'm coming with this woman. As for you, Purple Toad, just wait until we meet along the way. I'll be sure to hang your rotten spy guts from the trees.
All right, we have 2 teams. To avoid unnecessary conflict on the road, you'll each take a different route to the Stolen Lands. Tartuccio's team will go through Navacta's Crossing. The garrison commandant will provide him all the help he needs. You will take your team to Oleg Levitin's trading post. He's been complaining about the Stag Lord's bandits for a while now. There, you'll be provided with all the necessary travel supplies. I'd like to believe you, but I know all too well how convincing traitors and spies can be. If you're truly innocent, I hope you can forgive me this precaution. While you're away, Keston will investigate the night's events and learn who in Restov is working for Patax. But you should know that it isn't just Patax we need to worry about. The Royal House of Sertova may also interfere in our plans. I've managed to keep this affair a secret from them so far, but that can't last long. By my estimations, you have no more than 3 months. After that, any feats you accomplish will be pointless. And now, farewell. This battle was but the first ordeal along your path, and you overcame it as true champions of Restov. May the obstacles that follow also fall to your feet. Fear nothing, my friends, and return victorious.
So we've got 3 months to basically tame the Stolen Lands. And you know, even though I spent 20 minutes on it, I think I'm going to remake a different character. But luckily I can do that at the trading post and not have to go through the intro again.
Surviving a terrible night, our small team set off to brave our fate. Beware, Stolen Lands. Heroes are on the way.
Because I totally botched the build. I think I'm gonna go so far as to change my entire class. Because as much as clerics, I'm into them lately, they're just not quite my playstyle. Although they can be, if you know how to build them right.
Each step brings us closer to the end.
So this whole encounter is set up to force me to rest. That way I'll learn about this mechanic.
Hey, has anyone tried to get Harem dead drunk? Is he still so boring when he's loaded?
Oh, Amiri, Amiri. There were times when I was never sober. This was long ago, before I came to Grotus, and I do not wish to return to those dark days.
So when you rest, your characters will have these little exchanges, and I just think that's a nice little touch. And of course, it's storming. So this little encounter also exists to teach us about carrying weight and how, long story short, we're carrying too much shit. Looks like we're carrying about 20 pounds too much. So we can actually drop that, and we should be fine. Yeah, it weighed 25 pounds and it was only worth 3 gold. It's not a good trade-off. Itchy. And in case you're curious, this is the map that we're traveling along. Oh, my legs are falling asleep. Oh. Ooh, pins and needles, pins and needles.
Let's go.
Save yourself, fools! So in the name of the Stag Lord, the lawful authority in the Stolen Lands, we demand this week's taxes and some beer. And where's that pretty wife of yours, Oleg? She should serve us dinner. Quiet down, dimwit. Oleg, we're just here for the Stag Lord's tax. Hand over the money and we'll be on our way. You want to drink some of my blood too? I'm sick of you. You're like locusts. You think you control everything around here just because you put that paint on your rags. You come here, squeeze us dry, and come... Stops talking when he notices us. Ah, you must be guests from Rostov. Not interested in bloodshed, but I won't let you rob this man. Be on your way and I'll let you go in peace. Alright, we'll leave, but what makes you think we won't return in greater numbers? Why would we leave when we've got easy pickings from Rostov right here? We'll rip out your guts and empty your pockets. You do realize we outnumber you, right? So Harem is also, or Harem I should say, is also a cleric, so he has a lot of the powers that I do.
I stand ready.
So just do a quick save. So that's another reason why I want to change class, is because it's not really any point of having 2 clerics in the party. So Oleg says, take that, you scoundrels, but now the girl got away, a plague on her. She's certain to complain to the Stag Lord. They came before for taxes, but this time they'll come to punish treason. What are we gonna do? If only I could send Svetlana somewhere safe and show these rats what. So a fair-haired woman approaches. Dove, why are you here? I told you to stay inside. It's all over. I saw it. I just needed to be sure you were all right. My name is Svetlana. I'm sorry your arrival to our trading post turned out so unwelcoming. I want to see your wares because I'm carrying a lot of heavy shit right now. I'm sure in real life I'd be much more courteous and hi, nice to meet you. I'm glad I was able to save you. My character is carrying a lot of heavy shit right now. So what can you tell me about that man who was running away from the trading post? That must have been Bogan. He sells potions. He lives out in the forest like a hermit, but he comes here every day. He knows every tree and bush in the area and how they can help you. Stag Lord's gang wants him to work for them. He lacks the courage to fight them, but he won't just walk away from us. He has a good heart, even if he grumbles a lot, especially recently. Let's get to the point. You say the bandits are coming back to our... Bleh. You say the bandits are going to attack again. Who are they and when will they arrive? Who are they? They're the Stag Lord's gang, that's who. These lands teem with bandits like bedbugs in a beggar's hut, and you just stirred them up. They have a camp not far from here. I expect they'll return in full force in a day, or in half a day or so, maybe less. Staglord won't take an insult like this lightly, and his henchmen are more like demons than men. So, you have nothing to fear. I'll help you deal with the bandits. We appreciate your good intentions. I may not have the best manners, but Oleg Levinton is the last name you'll hear accused of being ungrateful. We managed to defend this post, I'll reward you proper. We have to hide Svetlana, please don't argue, We have to hide Svetlana, please don't argue, Dove. Now we also need to decide on a plan. Go ahead and look around, there may be some tools that can be used for the battle. So he's got Alchemist Fire, which is basically the equivalent of a grenade. So we'll have him use that, we'll also look around. I'm going to cheese this because I already know where everything is. So we just set up some bear traps. And now we're going to spill some tar. So basically, they'll walk in, they'll get caught in the bear traps. Oleg will throw Alchemist Fire. Wait, does he have the Alchemist Fire or did he give it to me? No, he's got it. So he'll throw Alchemist Fire, it'll ignite the tar, and it'll basically burn everyone to death.
I will not falter.
Hang on. -1 and 5, -1 and 5. So nothing changes, basically.
Together we stand.
Oh, yeah, we'll bug him too. We could use some help fighting the bandits. Where is this coming from? You want an old man like me to fight? Here, take this potion. Consider that my help. Bandits here bother you as much as Svetlana and Oleg, maybe more. Help us get rid of them. Oh, cool. I can't usually convince him to help. Well, all right. I'll show those troublemakers. They'll learn better than to chase an old man around. Someone might even write up some verses about me, maybe even heroic ones. Please be careful. Go ahead and help, but leave the heroics to us. That's cool. I can't usually convince him to help. So blah, blah, blah. We're going to wait for the attack. Oh, shit. I haven't pulled up Discord. Sorry. We're going to hit people with a snowball, which, yes, is a spell. Which I always found kind of funny. And I completely missed it. Played that bard once. So this game is modeled off the Pathfinder rule set. I think it's officially 3.5 D&D rules, but it's Pathfinder because it's so popular. And I'm sorry guys, I didn't have Discord open, so I wasn't seeing what you guys were saying. You You rats got what you deserve. Now they'll know better than to treat honest people like cattle, and our Bakken here taught them a thing or two as well. Now, my lady, head up to our guest room on the second floor. You deserve some rest after such a battle. I need to clean things up. And this is for your efforts. Now, don't offend me by trying to turn it down. Just take it. And honest fighters deserve an honest reward. If there were more common if that were more common practice in this world, I think life would be so much better. So he gave me basically $100. We're gonna go. We're gonna sleep.
My search was not in vain.
Found a hidden compartment with some money. Now, sometimes this works and sometimes this doesn't. So we're gonna see if it works this time. Gonna cast guidance on her. I shouldn't have tried to save while a spell was being cast. That's on me.
Anything else?
Yes, it worked. So sometimes she can't pick that lock.
I will see this through.
So now we're gonna sleep. So you wake up from a nasty dream that tortured you almost all night. In it, you saw a wall of unnaturally thick fog that surrounded you, slowly moving closer and closer. Quick look out the window and you find that the fog was not a figment of your imagination. But then...
Hear me. Please hear me. Can you hear me? Please.
Oh, damn. Sorry. I was reading messages. Who are you?
Who am I? Just a tear shed by the land itself. The bitter sigh of nature. I am a nymph, the guardian of this area. The defeated guardian. Call me the guardian of the bloom, if you wish.
So, what do you want from me?
Aid, salvation. We have a common enemy, and long have I searched for someone who can defeat him. The one you call the Stag Lord. As a storm strikes ruthlessly with gusts and lightning, the Stag Lord wreaks havoc with the swords of his servants. And not just in the world of people. The land also suffers from the evil he brings. My forests and my flowers suffocate in this fog. Soon even I will vanish, as the last ray of light fades at dusk.
The Stag Lord's responsible for the fog?
Yes. It hides his fortress as well as his dark deeds. But while responsible, he did not create this affliction. It is the work of a powerful druid who has betrayed even himself. I know not why the powers did not leave this renegade, but even I was unable to defeat him.
How can I help?
This fog, it enshrouds, entangles, suffocates. If only I could learn how it was created. But my powers wane. I have barely the strength to call out to you. All I know for certain is that somewhere in this forest lies an old house, and it echoes with the remnants of a strange power. The Stag Lord and his druid were there. The fog hides this place from me, but I can point you to the bandits' camp near the Thornford. Make them tell you where this place is.
With her tail wagging.
Go there and listen to the echo.
Her head
Catch the
completely
whispers.
into-
Search for anything that can tell you how the fog was created. Once the fog clears, nature will breathe again. And you will be able to easily find your way to the fortress of our mutual enemy.
So Cal, I'm not sure if you're watching, that stuffed Judy doll that you bought me for my birthday, my dog just tried to take off with it, thinking it was her toy. So, you thought you'd get a kick out of that. So, alright, I understand. Farewell.
I don't believe in fate, stranger. But our meeting seems more than a coincidence.
Let us not hesitate.
So, gonna save. Well, I should have waited till I was downstairs to save. So I'm going to blaze through this part really fast because all I really need are her tutoring services. So she allows me to retrain my character up to 3 times. So if I don't like the character I built, which I don't because I realize now that I fucked things up, I can rebuild her. So we'll still be an Azamar, we'll still be female, but we're going to change class. And I think instead... Monk, strike, scale fish, monk's trainer. Confidence, brutal frenzy. Sensei is a revered teacher who imparts those around them. We'll go with Sensei for now, because I've not run that one before. I don't know why I went through that. So the monk that we're playing as is kind of your Kung Fu monk. Remember the Darkness Rising? The guy that was like, I'm going to play an elf? His character was basically a monk. Well, his character was a monk. There's no basically about it. Where's blue? There it is. Jeez. Ah, that's not what I wanted. So, okay, so dexterity, we can increase that up quite a bit. Constitution, wisdom, hang on. Wisdom describes characters' willpower, common sense, and awareness, and intuition. Every creature has a wisdom score. Intelligence. I would like a little more intelligence. Channel energies for clerics and paladins. Constitutions. Darkness Rising. Maybe. I don't know. So, have a little more points to work with. Persuasion, perception, nature, and arcana. Now we get a feat. So, hang on. With a light weapon, elven curved blade, a rapier, each your size category, you get to use a dexterity modifier instead of your. Now, I don't know, is the light weapon, rapier, made. I think it counts. Should. Okay, so we can pick bonus abilities. So we could pick blind fights. But I think we'll pick dodge. Actually, wait a minute. Once per round, when you would normally be hit with an attack from a ranged weapon, you may deflect it so that you take no damage. Must be aware of the attack and not flooded. Attempting does not count as an action. So basically I can smack arrows away. Crane style. Hang on, I'm getting a bunch of texts. And so yes, here, just because someone said they wanted to see all the different classes. So there's an alchemist who's kind of like your potion master and mad bomber. There's a barbarian. She has one of the subsets. I think it's the mad dog. No, wait a minute. Yeah, mad dogs employ all manner of beasts in battle, so they can summon animals. Bards have an ability to summon animals. Clerics have a dedicated summoner, the Herald Caller. They can summon creatures to the battlefield. Druids, of course, can summon wild animals. Fighters can't. Inquisitors have Sacred Huntsmaster, so they get an animal companion right off the bat. Kineticists, basically Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's basically what they are. Maguses are interesting. I usually play as a magus. It's basically a sorcerer swordsman. So I have magic and I can use a sword, but they're not particularly good at either. Monk, which is what we're gonna play as, particularly the sensei class. Paladins don't have the ability to summon. Rangers can summon. Pretty much every subset of ranger can summon an animal. Uh-oh. Okay. Rogues, I think they can summon. Like one or two of their subclasses let them. Slayer, never played as, so I have no idea. Sorcerer, oh yeah, they can summon multiple monsters to the battlefield to fight for them. Same with wizards, although they can't summon quite as many as sorcerers. And then we just loop back around to alchemist. So, someone messaged and said they wanted to see. I don't recall. For now I'll take it, but I can't recall if it does or not. Take a -2 penalty on attack rolls for fighting defensively. While using the style and fighting defensively, you gain an additional +1 dodge. So I'll just take deflect arrows for now. Oh, so I'm stuck being lawful. So hang on then. I wonder if that's sensei. Oh, that's just monks in general. I have to be lawful. Well, shit, I don't remember that. Because I'm usually, like, over the time playing this, I've come to understand that I'm usually a neutral good or chaotic good. Well, we'll be lawful for now.
You should have run. I will see this through. I do not find this to be useful.
Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do.
We shall overcome.
And then I had actually leveled up due to all the fighting, so now I get to pick another path. So I'll take second level in monk. And we get to pick another bonus feat. So we can pick melee is being visible, range attacks, however. You gain immunity to gaze attacks, combat reflexes. Dodge. So now the downside to being a monk is that monks can't wear armor. Otherwise it impedes their mobility. And if I use a weapon, like a handheld weapon, I lose a lot of bonuses that I get. So right now, just because I'm a monk not using any weapons of any kind, I have a +5 to my attack. So anything I roll, like if I need to roll a 10 and I roll just a 5, I can add 5 to that and my attack hits. And because I'm a monk, I get to attack twice in the same turn, because I have 2 fists basically. So we're just gonna sell him some of our extra gear because we picked up a bunch of stuff while we were fighting. Sell him all the stuff we don't need. Now the nice thing is that he sells a small bag of holding, which is basically like a, hey, stick extra shit in here that you don't need and it won't take up any weight, which is really nice. Okay, so hang on, just kind of need to configure things a little bit. Fight defensively. Light halo. I like to put these there because I don't usually turn them off, but sometimes I do, but not usually. So the reason I changed is because clerics are not frontline fighters, or at least they're not usually frontline fighters. They usually rely on either summoning creatures or empowering their allies. Now, because of the way I had built my character with the god that I chose, Gozra, I would get an animal companion. Well, I could then empower that companion, which I would have chosen like a dog or a wolf or something, and made it really ferocious. Well, I wasted spell slots because I also got these summon creature abilities, but I can't empower summons. You can only empower permanent characters. And so, stupidly, I wasted something basically on something that wouldn't do me really any good. Oh, sorry, I needed a drink of water. So, remade the character. Monk is a frontline fighter, but now I can also back myself up by summoning creatures. So, this should work a little better. And actually, monks get really overpowered at like, I think it's level 7. They get to pick what's called an opening technique. So the very first attack I make, I get to do something special. Well, if you pick the ability to try and trip your enemies, it doesn't matter what you're fighting. So long as your first attack hits them, you're gonna trip them and basically make them fall flat on their back. So they can be like an 80-foot tall Hydra, and all I have to do is be able to land one punch, and they're on their back. So I always found that really funny. That it's just like, oh, I'm a 6,000-year-old dragon, or I'm a 9-headed. It's like, great, I'm a 6-foot tall Mar, and I just tripped you. I always found that kind of... Yeah, alignment restrictions. Yeah, the thing that kind of bunged me a little bit is that some are restricted in alignments. Hayla, to answer your yes, in the earlier D&D campaigns, like Winter Nights, for example, you're not tied specifically to a single god. You can actually say, like, mechanically, yes, you're tied to whatever god you create, but you can, like, name the god and you can pick their focuses. So, like, what domains they rule. Now, mechanically, that was backed up by a narrative choice. D&D is set in a world where there are hundreds of gods that are constantly fighting with each other to actually take over each other's what's called a portfolio. So there's no reason that your god couldn't have these things, and yeah. Pathfinder's a little more rigid. It's the gods are set. They've been this way for thousands of years. It's not very often that a new god shows up. Although it does happen from time to time. That was Kalen Kestis, the guy who basically got so drunk that he became a god. So, a jittery old man in squalid clothing shuffles up to you. His gray hair is unkempt, and he continually clenches and unclenches his wrinkled, freckled hand. When he stops and looks at you, his eyes widen and he tugs at his beard. Strange weather, invisible fog creeping out of the woods, soars beyond the skies, obscures the sun and moon. Strange. I don't like this old man. Looks like a mind who can cast the evil eye. That's what we call a wizard. Invisible fog, does that mean you find your way through it? The fog is wrong. It hinders your legs, not your sight. I wish not to try. Who are you? Remus, but that won't help with the fog. Fog looks visible enough to me. I see more than ever. I've never seen so much. But someone must look, and no one else can. I should probably go. The old man stares at you intently. You hasten. You should. Your rival wastes no time. He races, but in another direction. He searches for power. He'll find it. My rival? Do you mean Tartuccio? The old man tugs at his beard again. He's not tall, but he wants to climb high. Beside him are those who could stand against him, and might yet still. What power is he searching for? Someone else's, old but forever young. That which was taken from another, that which gave joy, and now gives death. Can you tell me where he is? He's in an old tomb south of the trading post. Thank you. How did you know we're rivals? I don't know. I see. You can choose where you set your eyes, usually, but can you choose what they see? All the more reason for me not to linger. Once stolen, the land should be reclaimed. Once reclaimed, bound with the claimers shall it be. Bound, merged, joined by unbreakable ties. Claiming the land, claiming its pain, claiming its death. So blah, 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 he's a crazy hermit. Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, bummer. Okay, never mind. I just realized I fucked up character creation again. I thought it was limiting my alignment because I had chosen the sensei, and senseis are usually nice. So I went back and changed it to just normal monk. I should have changed it back to sensei. Oh well. So this is where Tartuccio is. Oh, so you couldn't really see it very well before. So this is the game map. This whole big ass area. It is very, 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 very big. So right now it's basically, hey, we can go here or we can go there. I've pretty much learned just go to the tomb first. Because there is a tactical advantage to going to the tomb first, but there is no tactical advantage of going to the other place first. So it's kind of stupid and makes no point. And serves no purpose. Excuse me. And that is one thing that does kind of disappoint me about this game, is that it's very obvious how you're supposed to play it,
I will not falter.
because it gives you bonuses and stuff if you play it a certain way, but you don't get other bonuses if you play it other ways. But it's still a lot of fun. I still really enjoy
Let
it.
us press on.
And then again, this whole section is voiced, but nothing else is.
Let me guess,
So
you're
it's just kind of
still
weird.
dawdling. Should I make some tea in the meantime? Bake a pie, perhaps? Plant a small garden and harvest some cherries? Perhaps you'd be more comfortable wearing fool's caps and colored trousers. Then at least I'd be able to sell tickets. Come one, come all! Feast your eyes upon the slowest and the most ridiculous buffoons in Golorian!
Sir Tartuccio, I may serve you, but I am no one's slave. We do what we can, but it is no simple feat to find an unknown object in a vast dungeon.
Hold your tongue, gnome. Hardly tell your twaddle of a fly.
Now, if we don't find that artifact soon, someone else might seize it. Someone who's standing over there watching you right now, you fools!
So because we got here so quickly, we can try to convince one of the two that are following him to join us. I'm gonna pick Valerie, so the one with the tower shield and the big ass sword.
You're right. Tartuccio has deceived us. A warrior who bows to a lie, who humiliates herself. There is no glory in this. I shall aid this scoundrel no more.
I see my magnificent rival will stop at nothing, even at stealing the servants of her enemy. Let us see if your fools are even more useless than mine. Draw your swords and cover my retreat.
Gee, okay. So again, because my character is not armed, I don't do quite as much damage as everyone else, but I get to attack twice, and I can also dodge, like, pretty much anything I want. Let's see if I can demoralize this guy. Yay, it worked. I like to imagine they just did like a bunch of kicks and flips around him.
And so they walked on.
Just do the whole, what is it, the
I need a challenge.
martial arts stereotype. Just go through the martial arts move in front of him and just be like, you really want to fight me, brah?
Together we stand. I was successful in my search.
Oh, and it looks like everyone else has leveled up too. I should take a moment and
As you order.
empower them. So how sweet, the first breath of fresh air after the stale, damp stuffiness of that tomb. Before us stretched an unending heath. An unending heath whatever. An unending heath complete with hills and gullies, and patches of low shrubs. Already the trail of Tartuccio and his companions had grown cold. But we would not give up so easily, whether the trail went cold or not. It was one we had to follow. And because I have a very high nature check, that works. No blade of grass was bent. It must have had enough time to straighten back up since we passed through. But the heath's dry earth preserved the sense of little shoes. Our eyes to the ground, we followed the trail. We walked and walked until finally to a huge gully, the dried up bed of a river. But what is this? At the edge, the grass was trampled down and the soil turned up. Footprints, lots of them. We'd stumbled upon a fresh battlefield. And here the trail led. One set of footprints walked away from the battle down into the gully. The brave footprints chased down their enemies, followed along the edge. So I have discovered that if it gives you the option to detect magic, fucking try to detect magic. So we discovered traces of a spell, apparently from the illusion school of magic, near where the lonely trail descends into the gully. So let's try lore for nature. So we failed our lore check. And here the trail split. So we could not determine who attacked Tartuccio and his companions. However, we could discern that there were plenty of attackers, and they were rather small. So carefully we'll study the trail that goes down into the gully. To our surprise, we discovered that the little shoe prints turned into little clawed footprints on their way to the gully. It was as if someone from Tartuccio's band was wearing shoes and then either took them off or grew claws, and jumped into the gully to avoid the battle. We'll go ahead and follow the path into the gully. So the way down was steep and it took some time to reach the bottom. Walking along the loose soil was difficult, but the claws' footprints were easy to spot. The bottom of the gully went downhill, deeper and deeper. Finally, the footprints turned, whirled up the steep side. Finally, the footprints turned, whirled up the steep slope, and disappeared at the gully's edge. We couldn't but admire the animal agility and clever claws of the creature we were following. The slope before us was as tall as two men and ended in a hanging crest. Climbing such a slope would be no easy. Motherfucker. Climbing such a slope would be no easier than climbing a sheer wall. However, a long steady looking root stuck out of the ground from the top. It's like I get so far ahead of myself in reading it, I read it wrong. So we can turn around and leave, or we can try to use our mobility to get up there. We're going to use our mobility, and since what's her name? Lindsay is pretty much the only one that's going to be able to, we're sending her. So success. After tugging on the root, Lindsay took a deep breath, grabbed it with both hands, and began the difficult ascent. Pushing her feet against the slope and grabbing the root with both of her hands, she climbed higher and higher. Only her heavy breathing and the faint creaking of the root broke the deadly silence. Suddenly, dust poured down from the top of the slope, and the root began to slide from the ground. Keeping her wits, Lindsay shifted her weight from one leg and froze, and after a tense moment, she continued her journey and soon reached the top of the slope. After catching her breath, she lay on the ground and offered her hand to help the next of us up. After climbing out of the gully one by one, we easily found the clawed footprints again and moved forward. The air grew tense. We sensed that we were approaching our target, and our intuition proved correct. It's important to note that Lindsay is about the size of a 7-year-old. That's about as big as halflings get. So you have to imagine a 7-year-old leaning over the side of a cliff, helping
Give the order.
Valerie, who is carrying a tower shield that is easily probably 5 feet tall and wearing scale mail armor, which weighs 35 pounds. I don't think that's how this works.
I will see this through.
Listen to me. A dragon, huge, sparkling, flew down to me from the sky and told me a secret. A great relic that will win the kobold's glory is hidden somewhere nearby. Enough of this pitiful existence. Search for it. Search and bring it to me.
Dragon, glory, dragon. The voices of the kobolds rise in excitement. We know the mites under the old sycamore. They possess the magic treasures, very ancient. So we're gonna go with lawful good. Stop deceiving these poor reptiles, Tartuccio.
Who is there? How? Here, you fools! I mean tribesmen. Don't listen to her lies. I shall bring you to glory. Just help me find the relic and stop this trickster.
So now I'm gonna punch me some kobolds.
Remain vigilant.
So he told us where we need to go next, which is the old sycamore tree. Man, we have a lot of melee characters.
You can rely on me.
Unfortunately, my role as a monk is a little, I'm not going to say moot, but is a little unnecessary because Harem has a mace, Amari has a bastard sword, or no, Valerie has a bastard sword, Amiri has a great sword, which is basically a two-handed sword, and I'm punching people left and right, so only Lindsay is our ranged. Bummer, I guess I don't have the skills to detect. There's a thing hidden there, but I can't detect it. That's Amiri, by the way, as you can tell. So she's a barbarian. She's actually from the official Pathfinder's rulebook. They set up like some basic character archetypes in the core rulebook, and Amiri is one of them. She's not the coolest though. I prefer the sorcerer archetype, Sial. She's cool. So we're gonna head to the Thorn Ford now, which this was the other place. We could have gone here first, but if we had done that, by the time we got to the ruins, Tartuccio would be gone. So, and the only difference is if we come here first, we get to talk to two of the bandits and convince one guy to leave the Stag Lord's employment. And that one guy really isn't even all that powerful, so it's just kind of like, it's not a good trade-off.
Forwards.
So the dark-haired bandit is kicking the ground irritably. When she sees you, she squares your shoulders and clenches her hand axes. Well, look who's here. Son of a bitch. So many limitations to playing as a monk. I think I'm gonna have to fight her and kill her, which really sucks. So I can say, I'm looking for the Stag Lord's fortress. Perhaps you'd be willing to help for a small reward. I know she's going to attack me if I do that. I can just outright attack, or I can say, you can tell me everything you know about the Stag Lord and where he's hiding, or you can die. I don't really have an option, so we're going to go with that. That's so, if anyone's going to be pushing up daisies, it won't be me. Yeah, that's what I thought. So what really sucks is she is actually related to Svetlana. That's her sister. So if I had a different alignment, if I wasn't lawful good, I think I have to be neutral good or something. I could have talked her down and could have saved her and not had to kill her. So they have a hostage. You see a dark-haired man of about 45 through the wrinkles on his face. Though the wrinkles on his face make him look 60 at first sight. He's currently a prisoner, judging from the tied hands. He slouches a bit, squinting short-sightedly at the light as he moves his lips as though speaking in as though speaking to someone invisible. His head jerks up as he notices you. Praise Erastil, someone's finally chased off those scoundrels. Thank you, stranger. My name is Jode. I'm a priest of Erastil from Gauls. Those bandits attacked me as I was crossing the river, said they wanted to take me to their leader, make me heal their wounds. Not a chance. The strength granted to me by Erastil is meant to help honest people, not robbers. Well, that's great, because I'm going to release you now. Jode mutters a bit, rubbing his hands. Oh, these times, to be as surprised as to meet an honest woman as to see a manticore at a vegetable stall. Thank you for your help. I've exhausted my supply of prayers, but I'll gladly repay you in the future once I've restored my strength. Come to me if you ever need to be healed or blessed. So I'm afraid an old fool like me won't be able to handle the mission given to me by Erastil on my own. How can I search for the temple when the bandits around here won't let me take a single step? I'll head to Oleg Leviston's trading post to rest and think on what to do next. Please, traveler, if you happen to discover the ruins of the Temple of the Elk, come inform old Jode. My gratitude will know no bounds. So now we're just gonna raid the place.
Anything else?
Still feel really bad for killing her. Because basically the story is she came here with Oleg and Svetlana. She was always kind of a little off. And then she fell in with the Stag Lord's crowd and things went to shit. Excuse me.
Let us not hesitate.
Right.
Probably gonna play for about 10 more minutes and then call it a night because I've been playing for almost 2 hours now. So this is a kind of a big deal because if we can pass the necessary checks, we can poison some wine that's meant for the Stag Lord. So the bandits' belongings are piled into a messy heap per section 18. Success. You find a cache under all the clothes and blankets. Opening the lid of a small hollow, you find a box full of bottles and an inscription that says, "Wine for the Stag Lord. Don't you dare steal it, fools. I'll make sure you rot." Come on, nature check. Yes, we poisoned it. So now when he goes to drink it, it'll hurt him. Which is very useful for us because he's not an easy fight.
On my way.
Just curious, I don't think I've ever gone back here. Okay, nothing there. Bummer. Remember, come up here.
I was successful in my search.
We'll take that gnome hook hammer that you've got. And we'll take that cache. Because he has a +1 ring of protection, I believe. Yep. Now, unfortunately, the ring that I've already got actually does the same thing. Actually, hang on. I'm pretty sure it does. Armor class 18. Yeah, nothing changes. So, but I can give this to another character. Like Harem, who's pretty useful. And I should level everyone up, so just a second. I'm trying giving her sleep. Sleep in like Baldur's Gate is a really overpowered spell because you can put some of the most powerful creatures in the game asleep and just wail on them. Lethal Stance. Valerie. Valerie's just your basic tank. She's doesn't have any super special abilities or anything. I like to give her improved initiative, that way she can attack first. So that's where we're supposed to go next, or there. Don't believe there's any tactical advantage.
Resting would be nice, don't you think?
Not yet, no. So as we travel around the board, our characters get tired. Now, the downside to being a monk is that I miss out on a lot of like weapon abilities. So like there are weapons that'll do fire damage, electrical damage, ones that can poison. Still, I don't get those since I'm just using my fists.
Greetings.
Kestern, I'm just gonna call him Kestern. Kestern, the former guard captain of Jamandi, Aldori's personal guard, nods to you as though you've seen each other in Restov only yesterday. He limps noticeably and his clothes are stained with blood, and he looks every bit as grim and as focused as when you first met. But this time you also sense a hint of excitement in his eye.
I have urgent news from Restov. The investigation that I have conducted at Lady Jamandi's orders have proved your innocence. Tartuccio was and still is the Pataxian spy. That dreadful night, it was him who had opened the gate and let the assassins in. It appears that he had planned to gain the barony and Eldori's support, only to later place these lands under the command of his true patron. King Iravetti is no stranger to intrigue, and likes to use others to do his dirty work. Anyway, Lady Jamandi sends her apologies.
Yeah, we already knew that.
We almost had Tartuccio cornered when this damned mist fell. First we entirely lost our way, and then stumbled right into a bandit ambush. My people can barely stand, so I would be grateful if you would help us capture this Tartuccio. He must be somewhere nearby. Bring that scum to Oleg's trading post, dead or alive. The Sword Lords will remember this favor.
How did Tartuccio manage to fool you?
That sly bastard has caused us no little trouble, that's for sure. When he showed up in Restov and announced he was going to join the expedition, nobody suspected a thing. Yes, a gnome, yes, a sorcerer, but so what? Even after that terrible night, some of my people were willing to bet money on you being the spy. His overconfidence was his downfall. Tartuccio's henchmen, it seems, imagined they could safely meet with Metaxian spies in the town's seedy underbelly. But Restov is the ancestral home of the Eldori, and Lady Jamandi is respected not only by the aristocracy and the common folk, but also by those on the other side of the law. We received a message from the slums. A good friend, who wished to remain anonymous, suggested the Sword Lords take a closer look at a certain guest from Patax. Jamandi immediately sent for me and ordered me to capture the spy, all very quietly, of course. He told us everything, and not only about Tartuccio. I doubt that Iravetti was pleased to hear of his agent's failure.
What can a Pataxian spy hope to get from the stolen lands?
Pataxian spies are much like magpies. They'll grab anything that catches their eye. Information, treasure, artifacts. This time, King Iravetti had a chance to seize the entire Stolen Lands region, and at the Aldori's expense. I'll give you some advice for the future. Be wary of the Pataxian king. He's truly a snake of a man.
See, and on one hand, I agree. He is a very cunning and manipulative bastard. At the same time, though, I would certainly jump at the chance to be able to double the size of my empire like this. You'd have to be stupid not to. So we could question him about who he is. We're not going to do that because it's not important right now.
Without a doubt.
I think I'm going to go ahead and pause here for the night. I'm sure you guys saw the message that popped up on my screen that said I've been playing for almost 2 hours now. Well, I've been playing for 2 hours now. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Again, this was Pathfinder Kingmaker. If you'd like to see more, go ahead and let me know. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. I don't think there is. So everyone have a great rest of your night. I will still be here to chat for another... What time is it? I'll still be here for another hour and a half because I go to bed at 10. Yeah, thanks for watching.